Good morning, everyone. Well, hey, we're all rested up this morning because of the time change. We got an extra hour's worth of sleep, so we're doing real well this morning. This morning, we're going to hop on the highway to try and reduce the amount of time that we have to get to the coast, because it'll be more scenic there, that you'll be able to see shots of the Bay of Fundy, hopefully, and along the coastal areas there. So that's going to be our goal, is to get there, and then we're going to slow up and take our time to get to our final destination. Little did we know as we headed out this morning that our ride on the highway here, the major highway, was also going to turn into kind of a touristy day. We did some fun things along the way, and I'll hope you enjoy these little sideshows that we present here. Today is going to be another long ride today. We're going from northwest New Brunswick to southeast New Brunswick. So we'll be covering a lot of miles before we get to Moncton, our final destination. Our first stop of the day is at Grand Falls, New Brunswick. The Grand Falls waterfall is on the St. John River and drops 75 feet through rock formations. It's a beautiful area, and it is considered one of New Brunswick's major tourist destinations. The hydroelectric dam that is located here has 4 turbines and produces about 66 megawatts of power. Here we cross over the Aroostook River, which originates in Maine and is a major tributary of the St. John River. It flows into the St. John River south of Grand Falls. As we head south here, once again we are bordering along the state of Maine and the U.S.-Canada border. We are probably only about 5 miles or less east of that border. Here we are at our second touristy type spot of the day. The Hartland Covered Bridge is the longest covered bridge in the world. It spans 1,282 feet across the St. John River and was opened in July of 1901. This is actually a pretty cool bridge. Because the bridge is just a single lane, you have to wait on both sides until the bridge is completely clear before you can go across. Hopefully the people trying to cross the bridge will watch for your headlights and wait on you so you don't meet somewhere in the middle of the bridge. There's certainly no place to pass here. I apologize that you can't see anything out the bridge, but the camera automatically adjusts for the lighting inside the bridge, which means it overexposes for everything outside. Upon exiting the east end of the bridge, you come out into the small town of Hartland, New Brunswick. In this clip, you can get an idea of how long this bridge really is. It's a pretty impressive engineering feat for a turn-of-the-century project in 1901.
Here we cross over the Hawkshaw Suspension Bridge on our way to get fuel. While in the small town of Nakawik, we stumble into our third tourist attraction, the biggest axe in the world. Wait till you see this thing. Nakawik is nestled along the east side of the St. John River. And even though I may poke some fun at its world's biggest axe attraction that they have, it is a beautiful area and is a great place to stop and refuel or grab a bite to eat. Don't forget to take a look down along the river at the park area and see that world's biggest axe. You might have noticed that I'm doing the extra mile in my pronunciation here so I don't pronounce it incorrectly. Even though we're doing interstate riding, it is a beautiful area to go through and very scenic. It is a great way to go from north to south on eastern New Brunswick if you need to make time because of the amount of miles or the destination you're trying to get to. We just pulled in St. John's, and you could notice a temperature difference when you're still pretty far away from the coast. It dropped about 20 degrees Fahrenheit in 20 kilometers. So it's pretty cool here along the coast, and there's some fog. Gord headed downtown in St. John so that we could get a look over the city. He found a spot that is a little touristy, but it's an overlook of the downtown city area. And unfortunately, when we got there, there was so much fog in the area that it really kind of made it hard to get an overview of the city. I don't know whether, if it was clear out, whether it would be worth going to this location. But with the fog rolling in, it just made it difficult to see more than just what was immediately in front of us. Here we ride up to the top of the lookout, and you can see for yourself with the fog there, visibility is limited to probably just a mile and a half. Originally, we were going to take Highway 111 along the coast before getting back out to the major highway, but because of the fog rolling in, you just couldn't get good views of the Bay of Fundy. So we hit the highway and headed for the national park. It is well worth the ride of going through the Fundy National Park. The road twists around with scenic views everywhere you look. It really gets fun when you get toward the coast because the road kind of does switchbacks downhill until you get right along the coast. Thanks a lot.
I don't know.
We're not having much luck this afternoon. We diverted away from the coast because at St. John's there was heavy fog rolling in, and you just couldn't see anything, and I couldn't be able to film along the coast there. Then we ran all the way up here to the national park, looking, hoping to see the Hopewell rock formations. But again, we struck out because it's high tide right now, and all the formations that you normally get to see are underwater. So we're going to head up the coast and see what we can find, but we were thwarted on our efforts to do what we wanted to do today. Just after leaving the park, we ride through the little seaside town of Alma. It is really a rustic and quaint town, and I'm sure that it's a popular spot for tourism. It looked like it would be a lot of fun because they had a lot of support there as far as hotels and restaurants and bars. It would be a great place to just camp out for the afternoon if you're in the area. As we headed northeast out of Alma on Highway 114, we came across these areas where the road had been significantly washed out. I'm not sure what would have caused this, if it was winter runoff or if they had heavy rains, but at places almost a third of the road was gone. As you can see, it wasn't long until we were right back in the soup. If you look closely, you can see the seashore, but boy, you can't see very far away, can you? Ironically, the GPS takes us off into Netherland again, and I really look forward to it because I like hitting these gravel roads to bring you this backcountry views. But Gord didn't want to take his Harley down. So once again, I jump on the gravel and go solo here for a little while, where I cross over a little gate or dam here. I'm not sure exactly what its intended purpose was, maybe just to keep the high tides from rushing in and out and holding the water behind it in. It was a flooded area with grassland, and they had cattle grazing in this area, but I just thought it was a really, really cool area. This road did go all the way through, but because Gord was waiting on me, I went out so far and then turned around and came back the same way I came in. Here you can see I'm crossing right back over that gate or little dam.
I fixed the bar, but I mean, I tensed up and I pulled towards me and it went whang. Not as much as yesterday, but you know, but I fixed it again. So
Whoever installed it for you need to go back in there and have them put Loctite.
yeah, I'll get it all fixed up, but I can nurse it our way around. I just can't do any serious rugged work, that's all.
Right.
Yesterday, Gord had suffered a little bit of a mishap with his Harley Davidson. He has a set of higher rise handlebars on the bike, and he had pulled back on them and they had broke loose. We managed to brute force him back into the position he wished them to be in, but he had kind of off and on issues with it for the rest of the trip. As we turn north toward Moncton, we ride along the Petitcodiac River Valley, which meets up with the Bay of Fundy. It would be a great place to watch the tidal change, since the tidal change is so dramatic here. All of that area turns into mud flats. It would be pretty cool, but like I said earlier, it was high tide, so all you see is water. Well, it's been a long ride today, and we're making the final push to get to Moncton. We've seen a lot of fun things today, and I hope you've enjoyed these as we've presented them to you.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to day 3 of the great adventure. On day 3, we left Edmundston, New Brunswick, up in the northwest corner of the province, and ultimately ended up in the southeast corner of New Brunswick in a place called Moncton. Along the way, we enjoyed a few interesting scenes and sights rather at Grand Falls, a fairly significant rocky gorge there, Grand Falls, New Brunswick. You can see how we sort of tracked right down the edge of the boundary with Maine again, and this time we encountered a covered bridge at Hartland, New Brunswick. We carried on a little further down the road, needed fuel, so we jumped off the road and happened to come across, apparently, the world's biggest axe. I don't know if there's any credentials that would suggest that that's the true thing, but it looked pretty impressive just the same. We carried on down through the road, down on the main highway for the most part on this route, because we knew we had a fairly long day ahead of us. We zipped by the city of Fredericton and then proceeded down through the Canadian Forces Base training area, the highway that splits that. You can see that beige area on the map here is their training area. It's pretty big sandbox to play in for sure. We headed down to St. John, New Brunswick, which I'll just zoom out here a little bit. You can see is on the Bay of Fundy, between Nova Scotia to the south and the southern coast of New Brunswick. Known for its significant tides. In this case, unfortunately, we encountered significant weather, and the fog became problematic for us to see things, so we didn't loiter very long and continued off to the northeast, east, hoping to get a glimpse of another significant phenomenon of nature called the Hopewell Rocks. Again, we were thwarted by timing and weather. We were unable to see those, so we carried along with a little bit of a coast crawl around the corner and then further up a small road through a few small towns and sort of snuck in late last night into Moncton for a night's rest. All in all, a great day. A little bit of a long ride for us, but pleasurable just the same.
Well, yesterday we had to alter our plans because of the weather along the coast with the fog. Hopefully we got good enough shots for you, though, that you like that video. If you did, please give it the big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe.
I could be like one of those truckers that wears a condom with a tube on it and just pee going down the road. Pee into a bag.
Yeah, like a homemade catheter.
Yeah, exactly.
Without the insertion part.
Right.